Evil Up Close is a pretty brilliant series, but I do have to say, if you go and watch this on Amazon Prime, I watched it on Prime via the Crime and Investigation channel. The way it's been uploaded is absolute chaos. There are a lot of duplicates. The best thing to do is to bring up the list of episodes on IMDb or Wikipedia and kind of work through them that way, because they're just uploaded so haphazardly. So that's just a heads up if you do decide to watch it on there. Beyond that, it's pretty flawless, actually. This is basically about people who seem to be nice, normal people, or maybe normal's not always the best word to use, but it's about people who you don't outwardly expect to be murderers. And we have interviews with people who either were in a relationship with them, family members. I think one of them was a nanny to the person's children. Somebody else could have been a potential victim. And it looks at what these people were like on their day-to-day and how they were hiding this dark secret. It utilises a lot of, footage where possible, interview footage, interview clips, crime scene images where possible. In terms of an edited documentary, it's very well put together. Each episode is pretty engaging from start to finish. It's captivating. I enjoyed the narrative design because obviously it starts off telling us a bit about this person and then it builds up to the horrific things that they did. And I think it's got a good mix of interviews with professionals, people close to the victims, a good mix of footage, clips, anything it utilises at its disposal. I think it does very well. The other thing I liked about this is that there's a good mix of cases. And it starts off, the first episode is a pretty good example, actually. It's the Crossbow Cannibal, who I'd heard of before. Stephen Griffiths, as the name suggests, he killed people with a crossbow and then allegedly ate them. He named himself the Crossbow Cannibal. He is an ultimate narcissist and the epitome of evil. And this was really interesting because I'd recently watched a documentary about, told from the perspective of his victim's family. But the interviews here were with a woman who had once gone back to his flat. They were maybe in the early stages of a relationship. And we hear from her what it was like to be around him and what it was like in his apartment. And it's, it's pretty horrific to think that she maybe could have been one of his victims eventually. But that's a really different angle. And whereas the previous documentaries about him I'd seen focused on the victims and obviously the tragic loss there, this looked more at him psychologically, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant. It looks at other, notable names. We have the Night Stalker, Levi Bellfield, who murdered Millie Dowler. That's probably the most high-profile case on here, I think. Derrick Bird, the Derrick Bird one is a very tough one to watch. The name didn't mean anything to me off the bat, but once the episode started, it came back to me. It's the evil person, to want for a much better word, who rampaged around Cumbria and shot 23 random people. And it's difficult to watch. It is. Look at Stephen Wright, Camden Ripper, so many iconic names, and maybe iconic's not the best word, but it's got a lot of really strong cases. There's kind of there were people there I hadn't heard of. They were also equally fascinating, very enlightening. I didn't feel like at any point I needed any background information about these cases. So if you're not familiar with any of these individuals, then it's, a starting place. But if you are already familiar, like I said, with the Crossbow Cannibal, it takes a different perspective. And I think it's really well-rounded. So aside from the fact that the way they're uploaded to Amazon are chaotic, it's completely worth persevering with and sticking with, because it's pretty perfect in terms of a true crime documentary series. Evil Up Close is shocking, but pretty incredible.